today. Today, my topic is breaking through our limitations. Now, a lot of us do not believe in ourselves. You say, I can't do it. It's too difficult. Well, I'm talking about me also. I mean, a long time ago, even before I started practice, I was talking to my sister about something. And I said to her, I can't do it. And you know what she said to me? She said, if you say you cannot do it, then you cannot do it. You don't even have to try. I still remember what she said to me. Until I started this practice, and I was taught that nothing is impossible because we've got all the power within ourselves. The only person who makes us fail is ourselves. So this is why I want to talk to everybody about breaking through our limitations and believe in yourself. Now let me start. Nothing is impossible with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. That is the spirit with which we have to learn to live every day in order to live our lives to the fullest. Too often, we limit ourselves. We settle too frequently for less than what we want. We all started practicing because we wanted to achieve something beyond what we currently have. We have to awaken to that fact and re-inspire and remind each other of the power of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo in the Gosho. Too often we spend our days denying our potential, saying, I can't do it. I'm no good. We only see our weakness and allow them to frustrate us. We are always looking for answer outside ourselves. But if we are looking outside ourselves, we are looking in the wrong place. We already have the answer. We already possess everything that we need. Actually, I should mention that this script is written by Linda Johnson. So I'm just quoting what she has written. The solution to our problems is the wisdom that is already inside of ourselves. We tap it every time we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo with the knowledge and the expectations that I have the answer. I just need to chant to pull it out. It is very important that we start practicing aggressively. Whatever you need, each moment of your life, you already have it. With Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, you can connect to it. You are no longer at the mercy of your environment, unless you choose to be. Remember in the Gongyo, there is a phrase that says, when the fire is burning outside, where you are is safe and sound. So you will not be affected by your environment. And I remember a long time ago, before I started practice, when I started to practice, the senior member said, Lydia, when you chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, your situation is not the same as those who do not chant. And she is right. If we chant Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, everything becomes clearer and we can see the way to it, and we may not suffer as the others do. Why? Because we know everything will be all right. And they will be. In the Gosho, Nichiren Daishonin says, Nam Myoho Renge Kyo is like the roar of a lion. What sickness can therefore be an obstacle? In this Gosho, Nichiren Daishonin is not just referring to physical illness. He is talking about any problem, any obstacle. It is no mistake that he chose to refer to the lion, which is known as the king of the jungle. A lion uses the same energy to attack any prey, no matter what its size. Nichiren Daishonin goes to say, a sword will be useless in the hands of a coward. We limit our happiness every single day. We have conditioned ourselves to limits, and we limit ourselves. As soon as things get difficult, we decide and we convince ourselves that reality is telling us that we cannot have. And we retreat. We change our goals and give in to our limitations. Sensei says, when your determination changes, everything else begins to move in the direction you desire. The moment you resolve to be victorious, every nerve and fiber in your being immediately orient themselves toward your success. On the other hand, if you think this is never going to work out, at that moment, every cell in your being will be deflated, giving up the fight. Everything then will move in the direction of failure. You have to understand the subtle workings of the mind. How you orient your mind, the kind of attitude you have, greatly influence both yourself and your environment. The Buddhist principle of a single life moment possessing 3,000 rhymes completely explains the true aspect of life's inner workings. Through the power of strong inner reserve, we can transform ourselves, those around us, and the land where we live. Each of us has this tool, this secret weapon. There is no greater treasure. Many times we have been chanting and then give up when things don't move. But with what attitude have we been chanting? We must go for our dreams 100%. Never do anything half-hearted. If in your heart you don't believe it will happen, it will not happen. It matters what you do in front of and away from the Gohansen. Your attitude always matters. The solution is always daimoku. And if you don't believe it, chant to believe it. Chant to have the courage to take action. Chant to pull out of your life what you need and when you need it. The moment you feel weak, fight back. Sensei says, even if you get knocked down 5 times, get up 6. Always have the spirit to get up. We can change anything in the moment. We can change those things that we do not believe we can achieve. If we never change the impossible, we can never ever know the full power of Nam-myoho Renge Kyo. The only person who can achieve our dreams is ourselves. We have to rely on ourselves to do it. Nothing in life brings greater joy than achieving a goal through your own effort. So 6 months later, I got the experience, and with this experience, I applied for the job of a actually not a secretary, a stenographer. You know, you would not, guys that today won't even know what a stenographer is. A stenographer is a girl who types, who listens to the tape that the boss would record what they want to type, and the stenographer would listen to the tape and type. This is called a stenographer. But stenographer is a lower grade than secretary. So I kept applying for other jobs after 6 months. Actually, I worked for Ben Line at that time. You may know or may not know Ben Line, which is a shipping company. I don't know whether it still exists. So after 6 months with Ben Line, I started to apply for a secretary because I've got the knowledge and skills in the office. And I got myself several secretarial jobs. And I jumped from one place to another. And finally, I got myself a secretarial job with Pfizer. You know, you may know Pfizer, the company. And I started to work for the vice president and then the president as an executive secretary. It was a very, very good job. But then something happened. My ex-husband's interior design business, he owed the bank a lot of money. So I had to quit my job. And without any training, I had to go into his interior design company and started working there with no training. But I don't know. I was very determined because I have to make it a success, because at that time we owed the bank, it was 1973. We owed the bank $1 million. So I quit my job and I went into his company. I started to go to the clients and ask them for payment, and I started to look for businesses. And because I have been an executive secretary, I was able to get businesses from other big companies like Revlon, Philip Morris, IBM, whose senior secretaries would have a lot of businesses for me, because at that time, those companies employ a lot of expatriates. And the expatriates got housing. And every 2 years, the company would pay for painting for their homes, for their apartments. So I approached all of them and I got a lot of businesses. But I was being forced into doing it. I didn't want to do it, but I was forced to do it. So I didn't have the proper training. So I employed people to help me, project managers, designers, craftsmen. And I did very, very well. But at the expense of my health, I was very, very sick. So in the end, I immigrated to Canada. And then I came back to Hong Kong after 4 years. And I started my interior design business also. And I employed people to help me. But then, I think a lot of people knew my experience. Because the client won't pay me, this is how I started chanting. And after chanting, I was told that there is nothing we cannot achieve, nothing that we cannot do. But in my life, I already proved it. Honestly, I have no background training in any of the jobs that I have done, but I did it. And then I moved to Australia, and my ex-husband was a dentist, and we had a dental surgery, and I had to help him in handling the business of his surgery. So, without any training, I just sat there and looked at what the nurse is doing, and after 3 months, I started working as a dental assistant. And because I listened to all those dentists, what they are saying, I learned a lot about dentistry. And when the business was not doing well, he was at the point of having to close shop, I jumped in and I helped to do the marketing. Now, I am almost computer illiterate, but I have to help him develop websites to promote his business. But I started to learn. I know design, I know what looks good. And, without any technical training, without any medical training, I had to write over 40, 50 articles about dentistry. Now, I'm telling you that I know a lot about dentistry. I don't know how to do it, but I've got the knowledge. Because I learned from them, I heard them say, and I developed 4 websites for this dental practice. And I worked as a receptionist, as a dental assistant, as a marketing manager, as a sales manager, as a practice manager. I did everything, and the business prospered. So now you see, with this determination, I was able to do anything that I wanted to. I can tell you, if there is anything I wanted to, I can do it. Especially with this Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. So please, whatever your dream is, whatever you want to do, please go ahead. If you are determined, if you try very hard, then you can do it. We must be courageous. We must challenge those things that we do not believe we can achieve it. I would never imagine myself being involved in developing a website. But of course, the technical side of it, I paid the experts to do all the writing. I don't even know how to do it to make it work. I can write the words, but then the language in computer to put it on online, I didn't know. I have to employ somebody to do it. But anyway, I did it. So this is why I believe in myself, because with these 20 odd years of chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo and practicing this Buddhism, I really trust myself, and I trust the Go Hansen, which is inside of myself. If we never challenge the impossible, we can never ever know the full power of Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. The only person who can achieve our dreams is ourselves. We have to rely on ourselves to achieve it. Nothing in life brings greater joy than achieving a goal through your own effort. Now, actually, I can tell I'm very happy with myself because I was able to achieve anything that I wanted to do. If you are not a coward who quits, you can achieve anything. Sensei says, youth isn't just age, it is spiritual strength. Youth means not to be resistant to change, to never settle for mediocrity, and to continually seek growth. Making constant effort over our lifetime is the key to our happiness. I honestly can tell you that I will never think about my age. I always look young. And I would never tell people how old I am because you won't believe it. Because I keep on growing and I will not succumb to age. Age to me is just a figure. So this is why I always look young and people don't even believe it. Always be on guard. Look at yourself and ask, am I limiting myself? It is human nature to want to take the path of least resistance. But the path of least resistance is the path of little change, little growth, and a lifetime of unhappiness and frustration. Chanting abundant daimoku is the key to everything. It puts our lives in rhythm so we can accomplish everything we need to do. It is important to enjoy morning and evening gongyo and daimoku. It is a mystical experience when you put your practice first, which in effort is putting your life first. You'll be amazed how much you will get done and enjoy doing it. This is why I encourage all those who are studying or doing a project or doing whatever, chant before you do anything. And things will be much easier and it takes less time. Aren't we not worth it? We have to encourage each other to stop settling for less and really test this practice. It means a lot of hard work. When we challenge ourselves, a lot of inner resistance comes out. For example, if you want to lose weight, you will receive a lot of invitations for dinner and parties. So it is about what we do to ourselves, to damage ourselves. You have the power within to do that. Faith is to believe in yourself. Stop denying that you are Buddha. Actually, when I talk to a lot of people and I ask them, do you believe that you are Buddha? Most of them said no. It's a pity. But all you have to do is to manifest it from within. Chant to believe you can manifest it. With the right attitude, you can go forward wholeheartedly. Our reality changes from moment to moment. Do not give in to one perception and let it totally take control over your life. We have the ability to be completely happy, totally victorious, regardless of what other people say or do. But if we don't take charge, we won't achieve it. Now, I've always taught my younger generations to be in control of a situation and not be controlled. Every time you find yourself putting limitations on yourself, use it as an opportunity to prove that what you can achieve with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. Our mission is to show the greatness of the law. Nothing is a problem unless we allow it to be. You must use your Buddha nature, inspire each other to remember from today onward, to go for big dreams and big goals. There's a Western saying that says, dare to dream. And it's true. It's time to go for the impossible, so that you can really express yourself. It will be the best possible gift you could ever give yourself. We must understand that there is nothing we cannot achieve with Nam Myoho Renge Kyo. There is no problem bigger than that. When you pray, take the responsibility through your prayer that you will help another human being have a breakthrough. Take the responsibility for your leader to win, for your husband to win, for your teacher, for your children, or your boss to win. Anything that you run from, anything that you separate from will cause you to lose all your power as a human being. Connect to your pain, connect to your suffering. In a sense of owning it and deciding that you will take the responsibility to change it. Don't feel like a victim when you have a problem. The problem comes to you because you have to learn. There's something you have to learn. Just face it, do something, chant to overcome it, and then you will become a better person. This is truly a magnificent practice. Decide that you owe it to yourself to have the most wonderful life. A life in which you are able to joyfully use everything to create undeniable joy and value. A life in which you take the responsibility to create precisely the kind of life that you want for yourself. A life where you no longer live reacting to where everybody else is, but instead become the kind of person that sets the example for everything you want everyone else to be. In fact, when I started practicing, the member who taught me chanting had gone through a lot of difficulties, and she was having a good life. And she set the example for me, and I did chant that I want to live like her. And now I am. Nichiren Daishonin did say, life is to be enjoyed. So just chant to enjoy your life. Chant to be happy every minute of your day so you can bring happiness to other people. This is what I do also. Now I'm going to talk about wisdom. So what is wisdom? Wisdom is characterized as a person of profound wisdom. The idea of wisdom is core to Buddhism. But wisdom can be a vague and elusive concept, hard to define and harder to find. How does one become wise? Is wisdom something that we can actively develop? Or must we merely wait to grow wiser as we grow older? Perhaps it is because wisdom is such an indistinct concept that it has lost value as a relevant ideal in modern society. Mr. Toda characterized the confusion between knowledge and wisdom as one of the major failings of modern society. He clearly demonstrated in the astonishing progress of technology in the last century, while scientific and technological development has shown only a mixed record of alleviating human suffering. It has triumphed remarkably in its ability and efficiency in unleashing death and destruction. Mr. Toda likened the relationship between knowledge and wisdom to that between a pump and water. A pump that does not bring forth water. Without water, the pump is no use. Knowledge without wisdom is of neither use neither. Wisdom is that which directs knowledge towards good, towards the creation of value. This is not to deny the importance of knowledge, but knowledge can be utilized to generate both extreme destructiveness and profound good. Just like our modern invention, like nuclear and all those energies, that is very destructive. But wisdom is that which directs knowledge towards good. toward the creation of value, not destruction. Buddhist teachings describe and analyze in detail the dynamics of wisdom and how it manifests at different levels of our consciousness. When wisdom is functioning in life, it has the effect of enabling us to overcome the ingrained perspectives of habitual thinking and arrive at a fresh view of a given situation. Because with wisdom, you will be able to see what's wrong and the solution to correct it. You see things much clearer. We are able to make a broad assessment of the facts, perceive the essence of an issue, and steer a surer course towards happiness. Buddhism also likens wisdom to a clear mirror that perfectly reflects reality as it is. What is reflected in this mirror of wisdom is the interrelatedness and interdependence of our life with all other life. This wisdom dispels our delusions of separateness and awakens in a sense of empathetic equality with all living things. The term Buddha describes a person who freely manifests this inherent wisdom. And what causes this wisdom to well forth in our life is compassion. Buddhism sees the universe and life itself as an embodiment of compassion. The interweaving of the threads of interdependent phenomena, giving rise to and nurturing life in all its wonderful and varied manifestations. It teaches that the purpose of human life is to be actively participating in the compassionate workings of the universe, enriching and enhancing life's creative dynamism. Therefore, it is when we act with compassion that our life is brought into accord with the universal life force and manifests our inherent wisdom. The action of encouraging and sharing hope with others awakens us to a larger, freer identity beyond the narrow confines of our ego. Wisdom and compassion are thus inseparable. The more we strive to develop an altruistic spirit, the more the wisdom of the Buddha is aroused within us. And the more powerful we can, our knowledge, our talents, and our unique particularities of our character to the end of creating happiness for ourselves and others. I'm going to share with you an experience talking about how she achieved happiness with all the problems she went through. She says, "For it is not joy that makes us grateful. It is gratitude that makes us joyful." She started, "After 10 years in a wonderful marriage, my husband and I decided to have a child, but I couldn't get pregnant. We went to fertility doctors. I took shots and I tried artificial insemination to no avail. To want a child and be disappointed month after month, year after year, was extremely painful. It brought up feelings of inadequacy. During this whole period, my husband developed type 1 diabetes. He wound up in the hospital because we didn't know that he had the disease. He couldn't work for a while, and I wasn't making a lot of money. So we went into major debt, but I always able to rejuvenate hope through chanting. After 6 years of trying unsuccessfully to get pregnant, I decided to go to Japan for a Buddhist training course, as I had done once before when I needed spiritual nourishment. I started putting a little bit of money aside every week, determined that my husband and I would go. I managed to save enough for the trip. In Japan, we met with a longtime member who shared an experience with us. He told us that he had once had severe throat cancer and had been given 6 months to live. He refused to accept that diagnosis and proceeded to chant 7 hours a day for 6 months. It was now 7 years later, and he was still alive and chanting 3 hours a day. He told me that I needed to have 100% faith, 100% confidence, and that even though it was important to have doctors, I couldn't let them or anyone sway me. Now here I have to add that please do not be swayed by what the doctors say, because from my experience, doctors are not always right, because doctors are trained by the books. They all go by the books. So they don't know the mystic law. When they say it's impossible, which means that they don't know that there are possibilities within our lives. So listen to what they say and use your wisdom. All right, don't trust them. 100%, I mean. Of course, we have to go to them. I tell you an experience. I've been sick for almost a month. In Hong Kong, I had taken antibiotics, and I didn't get rid of it completely. So when I came to Sydney, I was very sick. I was too sick to go to a doctor. So I went online. There are doctors online who can talk to you and give you medication. So I went online, and then I talked to a doctor, and I asked her for the antibiotic, which I have always been taken. It's called Ciclo. The thing is, in Hong Kong, I asked this Hong Kong doctor to give me Ciclo, and he said this is a very old medicine. And he gave me something else indeed, amoxicillin. It helped me a little bit, but not 100%. I know amoxicillin is good for me, but the Hong Kong doctor said it's too old a medicine. He won't give it to me. So after I came back to Sydney, after a week, I was still very sick. So I asked this doctor, I said, over the phone, I said, can I have Ciclo? And he asked me a lot of questions. And finally he said, I cannot find Ciclo online. I mean, I just don't know. I mean, it's the doctor in Sydney years ago who prescribed Ciclo. And since then, I've always asked doctors for Ciclo when I had an infection. But this doctor said she cannot find Ciclo. So she prescribed something else for me, which I didn't take. I bought it, but I didn't take it. But I was still sick. So on Tuesday, I went to a doctor. I was feeling a bit better, so I was up and I went to see a doctor. And he knows me and I know him. And he gave me Ciclo. And then since Tuesday, I started to take Ciclo, and I'm getting better and better. And today I'm almost done, except for the throat, I'm almost 90%. So I don't trust doctors, okay, but I use my wisdom. The doctor I saw Tuesday said, yeah, Ciclo is a very common antibiotic. But that doctor over the phone said she could not find Ciclo. Anyway, that's my experience. She said I had to know that this could happen for me and chant with the same conviction that he has sustained. He gave me a gift of beads and a scarf for my unborn baby, and we returned home. I chanted and reached a point where I realized that no matter what, I could be happy. Well, sorry about this interruption. Actually, I was pretty sick. So I was wondering whether I should have this meeting again today. But my determination is very strong. So although I have to clear my throat and I cough a little bit, I still want to hold this meeting. So this is my determination, my spirit. No matter what, I'm going to do it. So guys, when you come across something that is not very pleasant to you, please remember, I want to be happy. I could be happy no matter what. Please remember this. So this member said, I did get pregnant, but I lost that baby. I had an ectopic pregnancy. Ectopic pregnancy, I looked up, which means that the embryo is outside of the uterus. It's kind of dangerous. And you need a DC to get rid of that. I was still encouraged though, because now at least I know I could get pregnant. Again, let me share with you my own experience. After my first daughter was born, Michelle, I was only a teenager then. I was so unhappy that I decided not to have another child. For 10 years, I started to take contraceptives. I was so young that I was not very regular, so I did not have very good health. After 10 years, the situation got a little bit better, so I decided to have another baby. And then the doctor told me I couldn't, because he said that my female organs are as small as a little child, so I couldn't get pregnant. And also, my fallopian tubes got blocked. So several doctors said I could not get pregnant. But I did not give up. Again, I was very determined. So I went to several doctors for treatments, Western doctors and Chinese doctors. And finally, I got pregnant. And I didn't know it. I didn't expect myself to be pregnant. And then I had a cold and I took antibiotics. And then I had a failed pregnancy. I had to go to the hospital and have this surgery. But I was very happy. You know why? Because I know I could be pregnant, just like this member. And then you know what happened to me? After 6 months, I got pregnant again. And this time, with a lot of care, I now have Kevin, my lovely boy, my loving boy. So, again, I'm telling everybody that don't trust doctors. Okay, trust yourself. Anyway, this member says, without any drugs or artificial means, but just from chanting with deep confidence. 6 months later, interesting. I also got pregnant with Kevin after 6 months of the first failed pregnancy. This member said, I got pregnant again and was able to carry this baby to term. Our son is a wonderful, incredible boy, like Kevin. Being a mother has been the greatest experience of my life. So much of what I learned from my past has helped me to become a better mother. When my son was 8, I began to develop a tremendous pain in my shoulder and went to an orthopedist. An MRI revealed a tumor on my spine, and it had to be removed immediately. After the surgery, I was put in a brace from my neck to my waist. I would have to be in that brace for 4 months. While lying in the hospital bed, chanting, I had a deep experience. I understood why I needed to go through this to change my life and my destiny. I was 48 at the time. My mother was 48 when she tried to kill herself by jumping out of a window. She survived, but had to be put in a cast from her neck to her waist. Here I was, at the same age, also confined from neck to waist. She and I had gone through the same experience. Well, in Buddhism, we call it family karma. Even though they were for different reasons, both experiences could have ended our lives at 48. A year after that suicide attempt, my mother killed herself with pills. I made a pledge to change my family's destructive tendency. I was determined. According to Buddhism, it is possible to affect your family even 7 generations up and 7 generations down. Whatever I needed to do to accomplish that, I was prepared to do so. As I lay there in the hospital with that brace on, I knew I was already changing things. I was changing it physically, emotionally, and mentally. I felt free, even though I was in a physical prison. The tumor turned out to be cancerous. I was scared, but I chanted. And a lot of my Buddhist friends came over to chant with me. I have to lie on my couch and roll off to get up. I couldn't take a shower without someone helping me. I couldn't drive or take care of my son. Friends and people in the community came with food and gifts and even cleaned my house for me. I couldn't believe how fortunate I had become. I knew by these changes in my environment that I had changed my life and familial patterns. When my parents died, I was alone. I had no one. Now I had many people supporting me, that my heart would burst with gratitude. Through all that, I was extremely frightened with the diagnosis of cancer. I sought out the counsel of a Buddhist friend. I said, I feel like falling apart. I feel like my hope is ebbing. I was strong during the surgery, but now knowing the tumor is cancerous, I don't know if I can raise my hope. He said, Kathy, all your life you have been emotional, but underneath that emotion, you have always been strong. All the experiences that you had with Buddhism had brought you today. You cannot be swayed by your emotions. The strength that will propel you over this hurdle is inside you. That was an important concept for me to understand. The notion that being emotional doesn't mean you are not strong or you can't overcome adversity. After the first chemo treatment, I lost all my hair. I was devastated. 5 minutes after my hair fell out, the wife of my Buddhist friend just happened to visit me. She came in the door and I yelled. My hair came out, and I started crying. She suggested the chant. She chanted so intensely that I came out of the depths of despair, feeling completely confident in the future and in my ability to be happy. The treatments continued for 6 months, and all signs of the cancer disappeared. Not only had I overcome the cancer, I had also developed much more confidence in the way my life was unfolding. I felt everything was happening the way it should, in the right order, and the best outcome was assured. I understood how each moment is meant to help you change and make your life even better. I really got it for the first time there that there wasn't anything in life that had to be negative. It could all be turned into something positive and wonderful. Shortly after that, I received a call from a friend of mine who asked me to chant with a friend who had just had cancer. We went over to her house to encourage her, and I shared my experience. This woman wasn't a Buddhist, but she said she wanted to try chanting. So we began. In the middle of this, her daughter came downstairs and said, the World Trade Center had just been hit. It was the 9/11 incident. I took a deep breath because my husband worked in the World Trade Center. I said, we need to keep chanting. For a second, I was ready to fall apart. But instead, I continued to chant. I knew I couldn't do anything for my husband at the moment, except to chant. As we did, I felt a sense of peace well up inside me. I was confident that he would be okay, and so would our family, and I felt it deeply. Now here, I want to remind everybody, when you feel that there's nothing you can do, please remember, you can always chant. Chanting is the best thing you can do when you feel you are stuck. As I drove home, she said, the fear came up again. I chanted the whole way that my husband would be safe and that nothing would happen to him. When I got home, I turned on my answering machine and I heard my husband say, "I'm out. I'm out." Even before September 11, I felt that world peace could only be achieved through respecting each other's differences. I'm so blessed to belong to an organization that believes in creating value in the world and peace in your own life. I belong to a religion that embraces every person of every religion and seeks to create harmony through dialogue and understanding. Buddhism continues to serve me and my world very well. Now, I'm going to share with you an encouragement I received from a member this morning, and I think it's so good. So I'm going to share with you now. Here it goes. One day, a soccer school student asked Sensei, "What happens when we chant Daimoku vigorously?" And Sensei replied, "When you chant Daimoku for 1 hour, your heart changes. When you chant Daimoku for 2 hours, it changes people's hearts. When you chant Daimoku for 3 hours, it changes your surroundings. When you chant Daimoku for 5 hours, something extraordinary happens. When you chant million Daimoku, you become a person who can attract others. When you chant 7 million Daimoku, you feel like an eternal source of good fortune and feel grateful for everything in your life." Well, actually, for myself, I don't even know if I have chanted 7 million Daimoku. But I do feel like a source of good fortune and grateful for everything. Let me go on. When you chant 10 million Daimoku, the basis of your existence changes. When you chant 20 million Daimoku, no matter how hard you try to push away good fortune, it will continue to pursue you. When you chant 70 million Daimoku, you become a king of faith. Okay, so this is all I have to share with you today.